Hello, everybody. I promise today's introduction video is going to be shorter than the last one, and I probably will not be doing these moving forward with the podcast for every single episode unless I have a specific guest on and I want to talk about why they're on, or maybe if something was said in a previous episode that you guys have brought up and I want to clarify what was spoken about and maybe what I or guest was trying to convey. I can also keep doing these introduction videos if you guys like it, and I can continue talking into the camera before every single episode. Really why I'm making this introduction video is because I wanted to thank all of you guys for watching episode 1. I had so many people reach out to me from different avenues of my life, talking to me about the episode or telling me they watched it, or bringing up topics like I can't believe you picked the GTR over the Porsche, or telling me that you guys learned something about autonomous vehicles. I got Snapchats from you guys while cleaning your rooms or listening it over Spotify in your cars while driving, and through that I realized so many of you guys listened and got involved throughout the entire podcast, and it made me smile ear to ear. It made my day, my week, my month. So from the deepest part of me, I sincerely thank all of you guys for getting involved and watching. And that gives me motivation for moving forward, and I can't wait to keep doing these. This episode 2, which you're about to watch, was actually recorded before I even released episode 1. So that's why I also wanted to make this video and thank all of you guys. Episode 2 is kind of a little life episode. Zaiff and I get a little drunk, maybe, have a few drinks, talk about a slew of different topics, and have a little bit of fun. We touch on cars at the end. So if you are watching this on Facebook, I'm going to have the link in the bottom in the comments, so please go there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then, well, keep on watching, and I hope you guys all enjoy this episode of Cars Life and everything in between. Whew, I don't think I took a breath through all that. All right. And cheers to episode dos.
Number 2.
So, episode 1, good time, fun, learned a little bit, and we're pretty much doing the exact same thing. So, except now we have alcohol to kind of soothe it out. We're doing it at nighttime. So, here we are.
Yeah, we're in it.
We're in it. So, yeah, today I had a really annoying day.
Yeah.
Credit cards. So you kind of know this, but I have the dumbest credit card in the entire world. I have a Best Buy credit card.
What an investment.
Yeah. So the reason I have the Best Buy credit card is because when I was getting a credit card, for some reason, all throughout, like all the way up until the end of college, I just didn't have a credit card. I was dumb. I didn't think about it, and I always had a debit card. So finally, I'm like, all right, I need a credit card. This is stupid. I was putting it off for like a whole year. I don't know why I didn't do it. So finally, when it was time to get a credit card, I was getting denied from everywhere, even like bullshit like Chase, like student type things, and like they're just like, yeah, so like your credit's way too low. I'm like, well, yeah, I want to build it, and I told them, like, here's my salary, like here's everything, like can I get a credit card? And everyone's like, yeah, no, you got to build your credit. I'm like, okay, that's stupid, that doesn't make sense. But I went to go buy headphones, and the Best Buy was like, hey, you get 25% off if you sign up today. I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'll try it. I
need that 25%.
I need 25, and I ended up getting headphones, 25%, and a week later in the mail, my credit card came. I didn't think I was actually gonna get it. I'm just like, I saw it, I'm just like, oh, fuck. I want a Best Buy credit card. So
this is my life now.
Yeah, so anyway, I've used it a few times. When I broke my controller, I got a free controller. Little things here and there. I had like $70 in credits at one point. I had like $80. That's how I bought my phone for like really cheap, and I had a bunch of stuff. But basically, the other day when it auto paid my credit card on August 4th, it withdrew my previous statement too. So it double withdrew from my checking account. And basically, I get a call from my bank on Monday, since I didn't use it Sunday because we're at the races. I get a call from my bank like, hey, so your account's overdrawn. It's
The worst call.
Yeah,
ever.
I'm just like, yeah, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, I know I had enough funds because I remember transferring funds in to pay off my credit card, and I look at my bank, and I'm like negative $1,100. I'm just like, oh, what happened? I was like, oh my god.
How drunk did I get?
Like I was like, what the hell happened? So finally, I saw it was Best Buy, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's okay. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I call Best Buy, a lot of dumb stuff, and they're like, oh, there's a glitch in our system. We all withdrew. So then I have like a $35 fucking overdraft fee, which is also really stupid. Overdraft fees.
It's awful.
Like they're like, hey, the bank's just like, yeah, so you don't have money, so we're gonna charge you money for not having money. And it's just like,
or for having one of our machines automatically transfer money from one of your accounts to another account. But just because we had to do that, we're gonna pull out $30.
Funds. So now my credit card's frozen, and like Best Buy was like, yep, it's or Citibank, which is like who I do it through, Citibank Visa. They're like, yeah, for the next 8 days, it's gonna be drawn while we have our account specialist like look at it. It's frozen while we look at it. I'm just like, are you kidding me? And I just had to make a really big purchase, which I would have wanted to put on a credit card, and I'm just like, okay, cool. So they should be paying for my fees, but that was just a stupid debacle I had to deal with. It was like a solid hour and a half of just like calling them, then getting the bank on the phone to make sure that like they would be able to transfer funds back and shit. And
I had some bullshit like that with AT&T that I dealt with yesterday for an hour and a half, actually. When I was flying back from Israel, one of the guys that was with me on the plane sitting next to me is like, oh, yo, Matt, by the way, we have data up here, dude. And I was like, what do you mean we have data up here? We're over the ocean. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, check it out. And he was like loading Facebook. And in my brain, I'm just thinking like, okay, well, you got the international plan. You should be good to go. You have unlimited data in the States. Like, just try it. So I legitimately turned my phone off airplane mode, opened up jalopnik.com, refreshed the page, and saw that it loaded. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh, that's neat. And I put airplane mode back on, and I put my iPod on and just like went back to sleep. When we landed in Chicago, I took my phone off airplane mode, and I'm noticing it's not finding data like it does in the first like 30 seconds or so. And I was a little confused. Then I get a text message from AT&T. You have overdrafted or gone over your data plan by X amount, like $500+. We are shutting off your data. So then I was just like all confused. So I called AT&T that day and got it squared away, got my data turned back on. And flash forward to like 2 weeks ago, and I got my bill, and it was like over $1,200 for the duration of the trip, in addition to the normal bill that me and my family pay. But the charge that they wanted to give me was $800 something for that 15 seconds that I had it on over the ocean. They said, we don't cover any carrier over the oceans, and therefore you're responsible for this. So it took me calling into AT&T 3 times, but I got them to expunge the $808.15 from the account. But yeah, I was a little ticked off about that. And then you're calling in, you got to talk to that goddamn motherfucking guy who's an automated.
That was.
I'm sorry, I get very pissed off about this, but I think this is insulting to my intelligence as a human when I call in and it's a robot and it's like, hey, how could I help you? And I go, I want to talk to a supervisor about this, and then he goes, oh, let me look up for that. And then they add fake typing sounds in the background. That makes me crazy. It's like, is that supposed to make me feel more comfortable? Like this is more relatable as a human or something?
Well, actually, you've seen the Google like AI.
That is weird.
Where it actually says like and like like one moment, and like that's really crazy. You would not be able to tell the difference between. Eventually, probably in the very near future, the AI and stuff will definitely be able to pass the Turing test. Which is the Turing test is if a human can talk to a robot and have a certain amount of parameters and ask certain questions and get past like things, and the robot's able to convey emotion, convey the proper way to reply using the same dialect and everything, a human would not be able to know that you're talking to an AI or a robot or a computer. So eventually, very soon, in the next decade, I bet you, with like speech and stuff, we'll be able to do that. So soon those will be on, your phone calls and stuff.
Well, they already have the ability to manipulate existing sound clips and modify video. Like, have you seen that video that people doctored of Obama where they're making him say all that stuff?
And it's 96% there. If you look at the lips, it's like, whoa. Like, you kind of tell, but if someone...
That uncanny valley.
Yeah, but if someone like really isn't paying attention to that, or at least just listening to the sound clip...
Obama said that? What?
Yeah, definitely would not be able to tell.
Pull out Twitter.
Here's something weird, though. If eventually AI assistants talking on customer service line and stuff, do you think they need to let you know that you're talking to AI? Should that be like something that is implemented, like that's like it says like you are talking to this?
I think they should, or it should introduce itself as such. Like, hey, my name is Jeff, and I'm an interactive like artificial intelligence operator.
Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff has been doing it. But I don't know if you can't tell the difference.
Does it really matter?
There we go.
Westworld shout out.
Yeah. But no, that's... I don't know, man. This world's going to AI. I feel like a lot of our talks just go to AI.
It's hard not to when it's like so looming, and so we're getting encroached by the future where everything is controlled by artificial intelligence.
Well, already I was reading that AI like has already changed the way that we're thinking just by like simply like Facebook and like the types of videos that come up, and like they know the next like all the recommendations, so they know the way you're thinking. So in a way, you've changed Facebook in a way of like what you see next or what type of article comes up next. Or is that now that Facebook knows what you like and it starts bringing in articles, and then every once in a while throwing in new topics?
But what does it bring in? It's not bringing any articles. The only articles I see on Facebook are from like publications that I follow.
It's more of videos. When you watch like a video that you like that someone else like you tags in, or someone that, or like a video that you like, and you hit like, and then it'll start changing from there on out. Or on your news feed, when you scroll up and like all of a sudden, like have you ever come across like an article or like something that someone posts and you're just like, oh, that's cool, and then you scroll for a little bit and you're like, wait, hold on one second, you go back to it and it's gone, and you're just like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. That's Facebook right there, already like, okay, you looked at that and like you like this, you spent a lot of time on that, let's start rearranging things for catering to what you like. So now that's already changing the way that we are starting to read things and look things and think about everything. So that right there, I was reading like AI doesn't have to be a robot or anything to change the way that humans interact. Already we've changed it, and now it's learned what we're doing. Little by little, it's changing how we're thinking.
Certainly. I mean, even last night I was kind of thinking that to myself before I went to bed. I was scrolling on Instagram and I was thinking like, where in human history have someone been able to sit there and be like 1 second like, oh, that's a really cool like vintage sports car, next picture, oh wow, I'm thinking about like these mountains and this beautiful scenery, oh, next picture, oh, that's some weird like outer space nebula shit, and then next picture it's like, oh, that's like some model on the beach, and it's just like your brain is just like just going all over the place.
That's why like, that's why, well, it's like indicative also of like why Vine is so big, or was so big, or videos of how they're edited now on YouTube, like vloggers and stuff, how it's just like they're like posting memes, like switching shots really quick and stuff, because your brain's just like next thing, what, there, and like you said, you're seeing like models, like food, this, cars, like,
repeat
over and over, and then it just gets you to open Snapchat, then okay, close that. Open Instagram.
It's devilish now that they added those freaking notifications in the corner, where I can like see that I have a Facebook notification while I'm on Snapchat or while I'm on Instagram.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. They're like, fuck you, we know you're about to switch over to that other app, so here you go.
So where's my phone? I see that all the time, and I don't.
Yeah,
that makes sense now.
They know you while you're on that app and things are going dry. You're like, well, let me just hop on over to the old FB.
So I thought, I never clicked on it, and there's always like the friends thing and then the message thing. I thought that was like, what did I think that was? I just thought like maybe like like a Facebook friend or something, like, ooh, someone on Facebook, like a friend of yours is on Instagram. I never clicked on that. That makes sense. That's scary. Well, Facebook owns Instagram, so it totally makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Snapchat. You're right. I have
They own Snapchat too, right?
No.
Who owns Snapchat?
Snapchat's its own thing. Snapchat's it's its own company. It's valued. It's public. Snapchat's its own thing.
Snap Incorporated.
Yeah.
I could have swore. Oh, then it must have been the guy that made Instagram that sold it to Facebook for like $1 billion.
1.2 billion. Could you imagine making an app that's like, oh, we're just gonna share pictures and then like we can like them, and that was the whole like model it started off, and then $1.2 billion later, boom. What's the next thing? I don't know.
Liking. Oh wait, no, that's Twitter. Sentences.
Yep. I still don't have a Twitter. I don't get Twitter.
I had to make a Twitter for journalistic purposes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I rarely use it, but
I never made statuses on Facebook, so I just never got the point of it.
Nothing makes me cringe harder than seeing a Facebook status that pops up in my memories that I made like 10 years ago or longer.
Dude,
that's back when people would literally just be like at work playing tennis.
Well, does Facebook still do that where it's like it'll be like Steven is, and then it's like then you
Steven is going to hang out with Matt today.
I have some old statuses that have come up.
Dude, I've had some statuses that are ultra cringe where I'm like, nobody's seeing this. This is from December of 2008, but I'm deleting the shit out of this right now.
One of them came up recently in Nero, which is like an EDM band. I was like, Nero tonight. Like, I had like a million exclamation marks. I was like, I would never write that today. Like, yo.
Because now you would just let a Snapchat or an Instagram photo tell the story.
Yeah.
There's no need to write it out. You just let the photo or the music do the talking.
Yeah. It's like you're a different person when you like read those. You're like, that's not me. That was me at one point.
Yeah, I've read some pretty cringy stuff that I posted myself.
My little time worm at one point. So, have you seen the movie? Oh my god. What's it called? It is Donnie Darko.
I have not.
You've not seen Donnie Darko?
No.
What? So in that movie, at one point, he like basically like is in a party and he's like starting to like see people like walking around, and there's like a tunnel following them, like a little like tunnel of time, like a time worm I called it. And I was thinking the other day when I was sailing in I was in Saugatuck, Grand Haven, South Haven in Michigan, and I was there like 7 years ago doing the same type of sailing trip, and I was like the same dock. I'm like, man, I remember this 7 years ago. I was walking around this, and I like started thinking about Donnie Darko. Me and Brady were talking about this, and just like at one point our little time worm just made a path through there, and it's like, what if you could see like your entire life through like the worms that you've made, the paths, so you just follow a string everywhere, so you'd be looking around just like you'd see your string where you've been previously.
So is your string just like following in your steps? I'm confused.
So it's following in your steps, yeah. So like as you walk, it's just leading behind you, like all the memories, like a video of like all that stuff. So like we were thinking like, dude, we've been here before, and like what would that path look like? And if you go back, like what we'd look like. That's a very like trippy, high, like dumb like thing to think about. But we were thinking about that, and yeah. What were we talking about? That had to do with time work.
Social media and the power of that.
Yeah, just looking back at yourself and stupid statuses. Yep.
Everything I posted before 2016 was trash.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, I tried VR for the very first time in my life today. That was pretty cool.
Where at?
Yeah, so there's
an
exhibit.
Museum, right?
It was actually not the museum. It was in the place called the Tank, which is like an event space at the Chicago Athletic Association, which is like where like Cindy's Rooftop Bar is, which is where I went for dinner with Casey. But yeah, so there's an event or a gallery going on at the Contemporary Art Museum, and it's called I Was Raised on the Internet, and it's a series of different like video games and different cool like trippy exhibit like vaporwave type looking stuff. And they had some guys with some HTC Vives. And I've tried like the shitty fake VR where you slide like a Android phone into a little cardboard thing. But this was pretty sweet because it had like the full over eye, like good quality, very low latency. And it was the like the program was the one where you can do the full painting. So you have like two joysticks in your hands. And as soon as he put it on, it was like a really cool immersive feeling. So I was standing in this pink room with this really cool Tron looking like neon green grid on the ground that it said Museum of Contemporary Art in giant letters. And I was just like standing there, and he had like a little dot where I was supposed to stand by just to make sure I wasn't like gonna hit anybody. And then I had these 2 different wands, and one of them was to select like different paintbrushes and textures and anything you could imagine. And then the right one was like your clicker and then your actual wand and paintbrush. So I was like painting in 3D space, and it was just like so intuitive and just such a cool feeling. And then
if you walked, you would like move around the art you made.
I painted stuff, and then I was stepping back and like checking it out, and then I was painting above my head and then looking up. And there was some really cool textures. There was like one paint thing where as I was painting it, it was almost like Christmas lights. It was emitting like this long black thing with these little like flashing lights on it, and you could change the color of those. There's other ones where you're painting with like neon, like strobe type things. I painted a bunch of like raindrops that like you just held them in a line and there's like dropping rain. So I did that all around me. And I noticed that like after I'd painted almost like completely around my body in like a 3D space, as I was standing there looking up at it with the goggles, like almost felt like a sense of like claustrophobia, almost like I'm kind of like surrounded by stuff, even though it's totally imaginary. And I was just able to suspend disbelief and like really appreciate it. And I was only doing it for a solid maybe like 4 or 5 minutes, but I could have gone in there for 2 hours. It was so cool. The guy eventually had to tap me out because there's a line of people trying to go.
What kind of VR was it?
It was HTC Vive.
The Vive.
Vive hooked up to some nice laptop with some dope TVs.
And I've played so when I was in Cincinnati, a girl had the lightsaber at like a party. I don't know if people have seen it, but like
it's like Dance Dance Revolution / Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Best thing in the world.
It's fucking cool.
You don't. I literally said after like just the immersion of it and like the adrenaline rush from it and seeing that, I'm like, you don't need to have sex anymore. You don't have to have sex anymore. It's like I was like coming out of that like sweaty, lights, like immersion, like the sound of like the bass and like coming out. I'm just like, I'm done. You don't need
this
that.
This is happiness.
This is happiness. So I'm like, imagine I'm like VR sex.
It's coming,
dude. It's happening.
But before you can even consider any of that, someone needs to invent a full haptic bodysuit, and we're way away from that. They're just now tapping into haptic gloves, and even those are still bulky and they're going to be insanely expensive. Like we have to wait for something where you can just like put on like a spandex suit with no gear on the extra, but you can like feel everything. That's the only point we're going to get.
You know what's fleshlights.
Yeah.
We had to talk about this one time about like the difference between like if a girl was using a vibrator versus like a dude was using a fleshlight. There's definitely a
way
stigma.
more shame involved.
Way more shame. Could you imagine then if you got caught in a whole spandex suit, suited up with like a fleshlight and everything? You're just like, ah! Like someone walks in on Mom, and you have a whole suit. That would be so much worse. Oh
yeah, but that's going to be the dilemma for 13-year-old kids 20 years from now.
It'd be so much worse to be caught, but it would feel so good. Once you do that, you just don't need sex anymore. Although, maybe...
You just plug in.
Hold on.
Literally.
So, amputees, I know I saw a... I don't know. It makes sense why I jumped from sex to amputees. Hold on 1 second here. So, amputees, I saw a video with animatronic arms and stuff that amputees were able to plug in, and through needles they would plug into the nerve endings where amputees had either like above or below the elbow, and from their head they would be able to obviously think, brain go down and move fingers and even feel touch. So I saw a video of like a guy using a prosthetic leg or a prosthetic hand and able to pick up a wine glass and use that. What if with the VR and everything, you could plug in and then just plug in somewhere into your neck, into your nervous system, and you don't have to have a whole suit?
So we're talking the Matrix now.
We're talking straight up Matrix.
Yeah, I would love for that to exist.
That's what we
Let's
need.
go.
So instead of getting caught...
Then you don't need to do vacations anymore.
So
you literally don't need to leave the house at that point. That's the downfall of mankind.
Well, see, you thought really rationally right there. I was thinking if you got caught jerking off from your parents, you could just unplug really quick, and you don't have an entire spandex suit on. But where you're
Why can't you wear the spandex suit underneath normal clothes? Why do they have to see the suit? I could have a suit on right now. You would have no idea.
Smart. See, this is why you probably never got caught.
Yeah, I bring in that little extra bit of thinking right there.
That's smart right there.
Yeah.
But seriously, yeah, we got to plug in. We got to do the Matrix soon. We got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk invent it or invest in it. I don't know. I feel like he would do that.
I'm sure he's already got something working on.
Yeah.
He's got something going. Him and Gates.
But why? So there is. I saw an article on the internet about fleshlights or something ridiculous, and
The Avatar-looking ones.
I've seen those, but
who's that for?
I don't know.
What guy is like? Yeah,
some man in his basement. He's like, vagina, buttholes, and mouths aren't enough. Time to go to.
I need
Avatar,
the zombie one. I need the Avatar one.
The Avatar vagina. Well, so in the comment section, it was just like, LOL, fleshlights, and like just going off fleshlights. But if a girl uses a vibrator, totally fine. Like no one really says anything about that. I think it's just like this
because it's longer in social acceptance.
You're sticking a dildo into your vagina too. But it's social acceptance, and there's just something about like men, just like lesbians. We're fine with like a man's like 2 girls, but then 2 guys doing it. Everyone's just like ugh, like people think that's gross, but 2 girls go for it. So girl using a vibrator, go for it. Dude using a fucking big tube, sticking your dick in it, and then putting it in your dishwasher, which is how you're supposed to wash those things after. That's just like fucking way out of,
Yeah, with the cheese knives and the wine glasses.
There you go. That is weird. I mean, it is strange. I don't want to say it's weird because like I'm trying to be like, like that should be normal. But there definitely is just like a little. There's more steps to cleaning.
There's definitely more steps, and it's bulkier, and it's.
But there shouldn't.
It's more embarrassing when one of those gets found than like in an American Pie movie where someone finds like the mom's vibrator or something.
Yo, dude.
And it's like, but it's like, okay, it looks like a little like robot thing where this is like artificial that's been made to look as realistic as possible in some cases. That is like has a different level of creepiness to it than like a non-anthropomorphic device.
Yeah. When I was a freshman in high school, we were at a friend's parents' house, and somehow I just remember we got into his parents' room or something ridiculous, or we heard that his mom had stuff, and we ended up going into it. She had a chest full of stuff.
Oh yeah? Who was it?
I'm not gonna say, but
do I know this person?
You do not know this person, but just a full chest of like dildos, anal beads, everything, and
nice.
And it was just like one of those moments, you're like, yo, dude, and you like pick it up, like, oh wait, no, what am I doing? Like, it was like one of those moments, but yeah, that was definitely funny.
It's a coming of age moment right there. That was the day that Steven decided he wasn't interested in Legos anymore.
Yep, I was interested in anal beads.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
And finding other people's anal beads.
Finding other people's anal beads. Something I very proud of.
Something you practice to this day.
Shit, are we out of wine?
We are out of wine.
Oh man, what do you think of this wine?
I thought it's okay.
What?
I've had better.
So this is the Federalist. Pretty good wine.
Yeah.
My friend brought it to me for my birthday. So there we go.
I definitely like a Cabernet or like a, I don't know. I used to drink a lot of Pinot, but now it's a little bit sweet for me. Or like
I like a good red blend. That's what I'm into now. But also, speaking of birthdays, 26.
Happy fucking birthday, dude.
26.
Better have the 30.
Oh no. See, 25 was like, oh shit, I'm halfway there. I'm almost there. Like, oh man, like
I
gotta think about
at
it.
25. I can't imagine taking.
I felt kind of fucked at 25, but then 26, I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm closer to 30 now. Like, oh shit. But as far as life goes, 26. So far, 26 has been great. It's been good. I've been relaxing, chilling, working out, having a good time.
Yeah.
So, Podcasting. Here we go. Speaking of working out, I had a weird moment today.
Yeah.
Well,
or were you at the Y?
The Y, the good old YMCA, which YMCAs.
That's where all the shit goes down.
YMCAs are awesome. I hate LA Fitness, which I could talk about why I hate LA Fitness in a little bit. I'm kicked out of them for like a year. I am not allowed on LA Fitness properties.
Who'd you touch?
So I was at the Y today. Two weird things happened. First, I was getting ready to work out downstairs, and these two fathers walked out of like the locker room area. One of the dads was talking about like he actually, it was really weird. I didn't even think about this as a weird thing, but he was talking about Hitler and conspiracies around him and how like his body wasn't burned in like some History Channel show. And I was just like, good, interesting topic, interesting conversation you guys are bringing up, conspiracies and stuff. And they were like getting ready, and then he's just like talking about his son or something like that, and he's like, oh, Sam, I don't remember his name, but he's like, that's Sam. He's like, he's like, it's hard to get him out. He's like, football's starting soon, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, well, peer pressure is the only thing that's really getting him, I mean, we're not making him take any more pills anymore or anything. And I'm just like, I just fucking like looked at him like, pills? And like he was talking about he gained 30 pounds. And he's like, yeah, we're not, giving him pills anymore. So like, he's going to be doing football and stuff. And like, it's the end of summer. He'll be starting soon. I'm just like, oh my God.
He's beefing his boy up.
But I know for weight loss, he was talking about losing weight.
Oh, he lost 30 pounds?
No, he gained, the son gained 30 pounds. The father was talking about in the past how they were giving him pills to lose weight. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, whoa. Like, I don't know. I have no clue what the situation is actually. Like, and now I like really think about it, I'm like, I don't know what that is. But I was just sitting there, I'm like, damn. Like, is that the parents pushing that, or like the kid like overweight?
Could be totally logical explanation to that.
They could, but I was like sitting there, I was like, whoa, that's weird. And I was just like thinking about like parents and like pushing their kids towards stuff, and I was like, huh. I was like, oh, my parents never like pushed me like too hard towards anything.
Yeah, my dad really pushed for me to do like football. He hardcore pushed me to play baseball. I played one season of baseball in 6th grade, and I was bored as shit. I mean, it was fun sometimes, but I was very bored of that, and I don't know.
I actually have never really like asked you, because we didn't know each other when we were in those like game days, like sports days. I did soccer, football, basketball, baseball. I did everything.
I did all those but football.
I did football for 2 years, and then I had a bone cyst in my right foot, a calcaneus bone cyst.
Calcaneus bone cyst.
Well, the calcaneus bone, which is the forward one aft from your heel bone, and basically it was like an egg. It literally looked like an egg in X-rays. It was just hollow, and they were saying that I was like playing football. I'm like, my foot's kind of hurting. Like, stuff is really weird. So when the doctor got the X-ray, they saw it and they're like, oh my God, you're really lucky, actually, that it was enough that my bone was like starting to flex a little bit and put pressure on like my nerves or tendons, so something felt like awry. And they're like, dude, a lot of cases, if you have a bone cyst here or in other bones in your foot and you don't know it, eventually just shatters, and then that cyst and everything just goes throughout your foot, and they've had to have like amputees and stuff. And like, I was just like sitting there, I'm like, whoa. So luckily.
And how old were you when this happened?
7th grade, so shit, like
13,
12, yeah, I was like 12, 11, 12, 13 years old.
Yeesh.
Yeah, and my nickname was Cripple for a really long time because I had crutches for like 3 months, and I couldn't like put pressure on my foot at all. But anyway, football, back to that father, everything, YMCA. Second weird thing was there's older gentleman that works out at the YMCA, and he always is reading a magazine, and he's asked me before what words mean. Like, he's
big words?
Like, big words, or just like kind of like, yeah, just abnormal words that he's reading in a magazine. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I just search it up for him really quickly, and I just tell him what it means. This time, he was reading, I don't know what he was reading. It was like a magazine, and it was talking about protests and like religious stuff, and like there's like a picture of Trump and everything. And one of the signs said fag on it. And he just straight up asked me, he's like, what does FAG mean? And I'm just like, and this guy's got to be like 78, 80. What? He's old. Like, this guy's an older guy. Good for him for being at the gym. And he's just like, what's FAG? And I'm like, that word's fag, and I'm like, it's a derogatory term for gay or homosexual, so that's why those people are picketing and using derogatory terms to, and he's just like, oh, okay. He's like, and I'm like, yep, that's a bad word. Usually you don't want to say that ever. And, and he's like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, you've been on this planet for at least near 80 years.
How the fuck have you not heard that word before?
Exactly. And I'm sitting there.
He was in the midst of the era when that word was used frequently.
And I'm just like, how do you not know what this word means, dude? Like, you're reading all the time, like, magazines, and...
He just wanted to hear you say it. He's like, let me see if I can get this guy to say fag.
And I was just like, yeah. And I was like, yep, it's a derogatory term. You don't want to use that, really.
Good. You learned him good.
Yeah. I was just like, interesting that he went his whole life and didn't, or, I don't know, just didn't really come across that term. So, that was a weird moment I had today. Like,
You could have pretended to be really offended and made him feel really uncomfortable.
I could have, but I don't need to go into that level of PC. And like, why? What would that even achieve?
That will show him.
To an 80-year-old dude who's lived an entire life, has seen things, probably has granddaughters and sons and everything, and it's just like
just to fuck up his day a little bit.
Just to fuck up his day. No, he's really nice. It's really weird too. He wears.
What's his name?
His
Is it Bruce?
It's Arnold.
Arnold.
Nice. And I don't know. I just made that up. But he wears a vest every time he works out too. Like not even like a weight vest or anything. He wears like a vest that you'd see like fishermen use, and there's like pockets. There's like multiple pockets. It's like taking cargo shorts and just shoving them up here. And he wears that every single time. And he has a visor hat too, like one of those full-on hats where you see like the head. What's that called?
A visor.
Visor, yeah. He has a visor, and just that's what he works out in every time. And he's on like very similar machines every time. Has a magazine. He's just reading and just like pumping his body up and down.
Yeah.
Just sitting on that magazine.
Just
I'm just
pumping.
Like, good for you, dude.
It's more than I'm doing.
But also, you don't know very derogatory terms that you should have come across in your life.
Arnold, when will you learn, my friend?
Arnold, man. That man. But yeah. So, boom. What do you want to talk about? Give it to me.
Okay, yeah. So, first episode.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh.
Do you want another drink? I'm out of wine. We have Glenlivet. Glenlivet 12-year.
You can, if you want to get yourself a glass of that, go for it.
You're not going to do it with me?
I'd rather drink some of the Jameson I have over there. Shout out Jameson.
Should I do a really quick run and gun?
Yeah, grab those bottles. You can just pour it in my wine glass. I don't give a shit.
You're just doing it straight up?
Yeah.
No ice?
Ice.
But
grab me some ice.
Grab me some ice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have ice readily available?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, yeah. We're in the first. Okay, yeah. You have ice. All right. You're going to take over the podcast for 2 seconds because no one's going to be able to hear me.
So now that I finally have control of this podcast, I'd like to say that Steven is just a real jerk. He's not a good person. Just kidding. But anyway, so I'm going to bring this up now. First podcast, I did my car comparison with Steven. I believe we compared a Nissan GTR to a Porsche 911 Carrera GTS. This week's installment of Compare the Cars That Are Used That You Would Rather Have. Our first contender, that are also similarly priced, of course. Our first contender is a 2017 McLaren 570S. White exterior with black wheels and black interior. And the second car is a 2008 Ferrari F430 Scuderia.
Wait, hold on.
So you have an F430 Scuderia or a McLaren 570S.
I don't know which.
You're going to have to sip.
I just poured both these. I have no clue which one's which. I think this one's the Glenlivet.
This one's definitely the Glenlivet.
Yeah. Okay. That was one of those moments where, like, if you like change dead batteries out of something and you just have them in a pile, and just like, sit there and you're like, shit, which battery's which?
Okay, so I was just gearing up for our Comparo. 2017 570S for $174,000.
Is this the Glenlivet? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the dream. Okay.
Compared to a 2008 F430 Scuderia for 179 grand.
Wait, what are the prices of each?
Okay, 180 grand for the 430 Scuderia and 174 grand for the McLaren.
Almost makes no difference at that.
And the Scuderia is black with graphite wheels and yellow calipers. And it's actually funny, these cars are both offered at Chicago Motor Cars, a premier auto retailer in the Chicagoland area. I'm in no way affiliated with that company, but I follow them on Instagram, and they definitely post some pretty dope cars in their inventory.
I already have my answer. Which car do you think I'm going to choose?
You're going to take the Scuderia because it's naturally aspirated. It's classic Ferrari. It's designed by Frank Stevenson. It's a gorgeous design. It's probably one of the best aging, modern-ish Ferraris in their lineup. It's a beautiful car.
You know me well.
Yeah. In this particular example is gorgeous. I do love the Scuderia. But you're wrong for taking this over the 570S because it's just more car. And the 570S is just, I don't know, a lot faster. But you know what? It'll be interesting is where will those cars be in terms of status 20 years from now? Scuderia. The Scuderia will still probably be a Scuderia, and it's going to be a limited edition Ferrari.
Naturally aspirated, 500, barely over 500, a little over 500 horsepower V8.
But no torque.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know, yeah. But the McLaren 570S, this is just a 570S. It's not an LT or, the 600 LT or anything that amazing. But it is fast as balls, and that's one of the most fun cars I've ever driven. But I thought that'd be an interesting comparison. Kind of two different worlds of cars. Two different generations of cars. We're talking nearly a 10-year difference between the two of them.
Very true. I still would take the Scuderia.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. Well, not in a heartbeat. I mean, definitely if someone was like key for key, I'd just be like, ooh.
You'd have to drive them both. And once you feel that torque and the shove of that McLaren turbo,
probably you might.
It's tough.
Though,
it's really tough.
I would take the Scuderia still.
Okay.
I'll take
Fair enough. I respect your decision.
There we go.
But you are dealing with those shitty paddle shifters and those older generation Ferraris, those old Formula One gearboxes. But
I was at a shop recently. My cousin, he owns a Giardo, and he had some work done. Shout out to B Rogue. And
I know a couple of people have gotten their cars worked on there, by the way.
Yep, B Rogue.
My guy Doug got a titanium exhaust put on his Huracan there.
Yep. I've seen that he had it done there. There's a car there, a F430, with the challenge type package. It wasn't a F430 challenge, but it was a red example with those challenge wheels, and that car just ages so well.
Frank Stevenson, man, that's my motherfucking guy, dude. Every car that guy has touched is like purity, and it's aged perfectly. First new generation Mini Cooper, the ones that came out in like 2003-ish, like right around the Italian job, those have aged beautifully for Mini Coopers at least.
No, I
Ferrari F430, in my opinion, one of the best looking Ferraris of modern era. Just perfect. Every time I see one on the street, it's just like, oh. When I see a 458, I just think like used market, like that car I don't think is going to age very well.
When the 458 came out though, I thought that was insane. But now the 488 is out, that 458, something about it just looks really aged. Like it just didn't age well. As well. And the F430 though, like you said, you still see one of those, you're just like, damn.
And McLaren P1, dude, that's just another timeless car. Like that car's not going to age.
Yeah.
It's not going to age.
Those are incredible designs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a cool guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
You're friends with him?
Shout out to Frank Stevenson.
Wait, actually friends with him?
Yeah.
Is it like he accepts?
It's his. I think he just accepts like whoever, but he's liked some of my photos before, which is actually kind of cool.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, for whatever gratification that gave me, it was nice.
Cool.
Other cool people on Facebook that I'm friends with would be Mr. Glickenhaus himself. I want to talk about Glickenhaus supercars, specifically the fact that Mr. Glickenhaus, if you're not aware, is an American businessman who got into motorsports for a love of endurance racing, and basically he kind of had don't think I'm bullshitting on this, but I think he had a conversation with one of his kids and was like, yada, 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 I want to do a racing team. I really want to build a car that's going to get first overall prototype class at Le Mans because America hasn't won first overall in Le Mans for over 50 years. So the amount of money and resources that it takes to do that are almost nearly unfathomable, especially for a small startup or a very small operation like Glickenhaus Supercars or whatever they call themselves. And I think he had a conversation with one of his kids kind of to the line of like, it's either like your college like funds and all that, or like I pursue like my dreams. And I think he had that conversation with his family where he's doing that. So the guy is investing a ton of dough right now into building some pretty badass cars. I know they currently have like a supercar out where they've built a few model runs. I think it's like the SSC03, maybe the SSC03G. And now they're working on the next iteration of that, which he plans to make a full race car for Le Mans. So I think that's going to debut in either 2020, I think, maybe 2021. But that's going to be pretty fucking cool. So big ups to Glickenhaus and a grassroots fucking effort because America needs to win first overall Le Mans.
I agree.
I'm sick of watching prototype cars from Toyota and Porsche win.
Porsche and Audi, they're gone.
They're gone.
Peugeot is gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Toyota and
Rebellion. Do they have an LMP1 car?
Rebellion has one. Yep. And but they're not, Toyota is just they're hybrid. They wreck everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter. I don't know. Le Mans definitely needs to get some cars in there, and definitely like some homologated cars into LMP1, like the old McLaren F1.
Homologated cars will save Le Mans.
CLK, GTR, AMG, all those cars. They need to homologate those so we can see those on the track or on the street, rather.
We need Aston Martin. We need Aston Martin. Goodness gracious, everybody. We need Aston Martin Valkyries. We need McLaren Sennas. We need Ferrari FXXKs.
P1 GTRs.
Well, if the Senna's in there, the Senna, I'm pretty sure is going to be faster than the P1 GTR on track.
Yeah.
Pretty much goes without saying. It's got less weight, no hybrid system, way more aero. But I want to see all of those cars battling it out very heavily on a racetrack, and I would pay any amount of money to go see that in person because that would be legendary. But we were fortunate enough to go to Road America on Sunday. I think one of the best racetracks in the world, which we're fortunate enough to basically have
in the world.
One of them, I would say that's like one of the top premier tracks. So in America, I would say that's like easily top 3. I would say that's within the top 10 in the entire planet.
Yeah, okay. Top 3, Road America,
Laguna Seca,
and
some people
Watkins?
No. Nah. Some people might argue.
Watkins has got some pretty good elevation changes.
I personally love Watkins.
Good corners. Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta's sick as fuck. Daytona's pretty cool.
I love Daytona. I think that's a good track.
Coda, I mean, that's like a premier track. That's Formula One grade, FIA like GT1 or whatever Gen 1 spec they
I'll go with Coda. So we got, yeah.
And then, so anyway, Road America, legendary track. It's one of the oldest road courses in the country. They built that track in 1955 because race cars were getting too fast, and they wanted to make a track that mimicked the streets that you'd find around the United States. So they made a track with long straightaways and elevation changes and hills and crazy camber turns and stuff just to really make a badass track. And it's over 4 miles, and it's the longest circuit that the IMSA team, International Motorsports Association, races on. And we saw a whole litany of different prototype cars, and we saw a full Porsche GT3 Cup car race, which was extraordinary, and followed by a race full of an entire pack of like 20 plus Huracan GT3. They call that car the Huracan Super Trofeo Evo because now it's even crazier looking than the last time we saw them. They have roof scoops on them, and it's just fucking cool, man. I'm very glad we got to do that.
And on TV, it's really awesome to watch races, see the cars battle against each other on a track. Though in person, Road America is also known for being able to go virtually anywhere on the track. You can go to any corner and watch. And what's beautiful is on Road America, it goes through forests as well. Mm-hmm. So as you're going through paths through the forest, beautiful trees, sunlight going through,
You also have a track going through. The cars are hitting 185, 190 miles an hour. But people don't understand, too, is like when you see cars go by at that speed, huge honking V8s in the Corvettes, your chest is rumbling. You have to have earplugs in, or else
it's a must.
Your ears will be damaged. It's a very visceral, just absolutely incredible experience.
Yeah, I drank like 13 beers. I had the time of my life, dude. Every time I go to Road America, that's one of my happy places. I'm serious. Walk around there, just have a couple beers, hang out, see some Huracans glowing their discs as they drive by.
Their disc brakes as they
slam their brakes into turn, turn 6?
That's turn 4.
Turn 4, excuse me.
2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's turn 4 that we see those disc brakes glowing. I was fortunate enough, too, to work for a company, a racing company, and be able to pit crew for them.
That is cool. Fall line shout out. We also saw Justin Bell.
Yeah.
One of the legendary little
no one else hears it. So right now our headphones are going crazy right now. Apologies. We can't really hear ourselves, but according to the audio, it's not picking that up. So that's just our headphones. We can just take these off, actually.
Yeah, so we saw Justin Bell, legend. I'm very glad he came over and said what's up to us.
As long as we are talking somewhat near the microphones, we're not moving away really far,
we'll be okay.
We'll be good. But yeah, Justin Bell, legend. Got to meet him, take pictures with him. He's really cool. I'm happy I got to see him.
I got to take home a little trinket myself.
Oh. Leaving the shot. Oh.
Magnus Racing. I've been following them for a couple of years now. Shout out to Potter and Andy Lally, their drivers. But they suffered a pretty unfortunate event the last lap, or the second to last lap of the race. Magnus Racing races an Audi R8 LMS GT3 car, and Andy Lally lost control of the car near turn 6, put the car in the barrier.
Turn 5.
I thought it was turn 6.
4, 5.
I remember reading turn 6 on their press release, but it doesn't matter. The car got completely smashed. It was pretty much written off. The front end was crunched. And so we hung out and watched them unload their car, and I got to take home, ba-boom, little shard of the R8 LMS taillight. And the car nerd in me loves this because I know this is like a chunk that for most people just seems like trash. But I know that crash was probably at least like $80,000+ in damage of crunched aluminum subframe and the pile of carbon fiber they're having to pull off the car and stack up.
Olin suspension bits they had to replace.
I mean, we're talking
control arms.
Dollar bill, y'all. Steven and I were standing there, and we literally saw Andy Lally walk by and basically like pat one of their crew chief mechanics on the back and just go like, sorry.
Yeah, no, he literally just walked by and just like, he just like looked at the front of the car and goes, sorry, man.
Yeah.
And just walks off. And we're just like, damn. That's
He posted a long thing on Instagram afterwards how shitty he felt because he's like, that's the last thing I want to do is like make people work harder than they have to and fuck something up. So yeah, this is the tail end from a R8 LMS. I love this car and it's pretty cool. I really want to take home like a carbon air duct or something, and I asked them for that. And he said they really needed to save that stuff to inventory and figure out like what exactly broke and what needs replacing. So he's like, how about a tail lens? And I was just like, sure, anything. I'll take what I can get.
It's a lot bigger than you think in person.
Yeah. It's a big old lens.
This is big.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I think it sits this way when it's on the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it broke like this. But yeah, so thank you, Magnus Racing, for that little chunk of your race car. I'm a huge fan of you guys. I'm sure you'll get that thing back in gear. I don't know where they're going next.
I forget what's on the schedule next.
Wherever they're going next, it's going to be cool. I'll certainly be watching that race on TV. I've been streaming all of them, either on YouTube or sometimes on Fox Sports. But IMSA has been killing it, and I have high hopes for that league in the future to continue to bring cool motorsport, because next year, or maybe in 2 years or 3 years from now, we'll have the new Corvette mid-engine race car out there.
The C8R.
That's going to be fucking awesome. The current C7Rs are beautiful, but I mean, they compete with the new 4GT, but, you know, 4GT beat them out of Le Mans, yada, yada, yada. It's time for a new Corvette. We all know that Corvette has been working, or Chevy has been working on, the mid-engine. It was originally called the Zora. Now it's being referred to as the C8. We have a mid-engine Corvette that's going to be coming out, and of course, there's going to be a race car to follow that. So yeah, that's going to be an extraordinary car, I'm sure. Just by moving the engine to the back, they're going to go way newer chassis, way better aero. The car is just going to be drastically improved. So I'm very excited to see that.
I wonder how competitive it will be too. Because when Ford came in with their GT,
it was
a thoroughbred race car. It was designed to be a race car, and then they just said, and take the wings off and turn the signals and blinkers and an airbag in it, and they brought it to the streets.
Yeah, I mean, any street car that has a FIA spec roll cage built into it is not fucking around. They're not messing around with that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that to come out, because competition, as we know, is a great thing in motorsports.
And Corvette going to mid-engine as well, lowering the moment of inertia, which is bringing the engine in the front easier to rotate around itself. Mm-hmm. It's going to be way more competitive, and I think they'll definitely be bringing home a lot more victories, and more than they already have.
And that'll drive the price of other Corvettes down, so people like you and I can go cop a Z06 on the cheap.
Yep.
And blow it up a couple months later, or have heat soak like they are prone to.
Well, or old Corvette Z06 and Z01s will hold their value because people still want a front-engined, big pushrod V8.
I might be wrong, but I believe GM is still going to offer like standard front-engine Corvettes alongside the mid-engine one.
I read that for the 2020 year that they were going to do that. They're still going to offer the ZR1 and the Z06 and everything. And there'll be like a 1 year period or so.
Like a last hurrah kind of thing?
That's what I've read.
And then at that point, it'll just be different engine options for
I think once they go to the C8, they're going to just push that forward. And then also, what is it, the C8? It's rumored hybrid possibility.
Also rumored twin-turbo V8.
Yeah, so... Well, I heard there's going to be possibly a lower model with twin turbo V8 or twin turbo V6 possibly, and then there's going to be a higher model, the Z06, let's call it.
I can't see GM guys going for a twin turbo V6. I feel like Ford was able to squeak that by, and a lot of people really didn't like it, but I don't feel like GM is going to be willing to take that kind of a risk.
What if they take that and bring that to the $80,000, $70,000 range, which is what the Corvette starts at now? Which, let's say you're going to the Corvette family and you have a twin turbo V6 for the $70,000 range. Very quick, 400-something horsepower.
There's no way a mid-engine Corvette's going to be $70,000.
Then
that's a $100,000 car minimum. I just don't think there's any way. There's no way.
Mid-engine, look at Porsche Caymans starting price. Those are mid-engine, $70,000.
They've also been doing that for a long time. They didn't just dump a shit ton of research and development money into their product just to release a Cayman.
Although if Corvette's pushing
and technically that's a rear-engine car.
The Cayman's mid. Porsche 911s are rear.
Is it mid-rear?
It's mid.
Huh.
So I would say no. If Corvette pushes forward the C8 in production and they can take a V6 mid-engine, push that down to $70,000, then have their, I don't know, hybrid powered or V8 twin turbo and bring that to the 100.
GM, if you're listening, don't do hybrid on this car. I don't think it'll work. I don't think your clientele will go for hybrid. I think use that twin turbo V8 that you guys filed for a patent for and pump that thing up. But keep the hybrid away from the Corvette. Keep the Corvette as light as possible. You're going mid-engine. You're going for a whole new chassis. Lightness is your friend.
I agree.
Strapping 500, 600 pounds worth of batteries to the bottom of your car may make it very torquey in some aspects, and it has certain applications. But for a Corvette, nah, we're not there yet where we need hybrid Corvettes. We're not there yet.
Yeah. Maybe
10, 15 years down the line. Maybe, but I feel like you gotta, dip your toes in the water before you dive in. Dive in. Let me restart that. You need to wade in before you dive into the deep end. All right.
Okay, there we go.
It's gonna take a while to get people to accept the possibility of a twin turbo V6 Corvette. If that's actually a possibility, we listened to a sound clip earlier. It was hard to differentiate. I thought it was a flat plane crank V8. It sounded like a race car V8, but there's also a possibility it sounded like a V6. I don't know. I just see a lot of like angry jean short wearing Nike or New Balance wearing dads saying, I'm never going to buy a Corvette as long as it doesn't have a V8 in it. It needs to have a V8. So many people shit on Ford all the time for the V6 and the lack of that V8 grumble. And, you know, when you see the Ford GT live, it doesn't have like that sexy of an exhaust note. It kind of goes by and it's like...
It doesn't, but then as soon as people drive it, they go, wow.
That's all out the window. Who gives a shit about what it sounds like
exactly.
at that point?
So, personally, as an engineer, I love when they can make a car very efficient, very quick, smaller displacements.
I'm all about progress, but, I mean, to an extent.
Yes.
Like, for example, the BMW i8, get the fuck out of here with that 3-cylinder Mini Cooper turbocharged motor with some battery packs. That's ass. Nobody wants to drive that car, dude.
And also that car just wasn't, for how it looks, I still think it looks pretty darn good from the front.
From some angles, yeah.
From some angles, but it just wasn't that quick. And for the price tag...
And it doesn't have a good sound. It has a 3-cylinder.
Sound, the quality, just from what I've been reading about that car, just literally people were like, this is a BMW.
Dude, just sitting in that car, if you weren't looking directly at the steering wheel or the gauge cluster, it just felt like you're in a slightly bumped 3 Series. It did not feel like a special place to me. If you get rid of the fact that you're closing, you know, a clamshell type door and sitting in it felt like very meh.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think if Corvette wants to go to this mid-engine design, which is going to completely change the proportions of their car. Corvette owners are used to really long hoods, short rear decks. You know, the car is stretched out. The entire greenhouse is pushed towards the back of the car. And now all of a sudden we're going to be getting completely different proportions. The cockpit is going to be a lot closer to the front wheels.
Well, what if they
make space for that engine?
What if they pulled a Lexus LC? So they did a V6 turbocharged with the hybrid, then V8 twin turbo. What would you think of that?
That's a much better idea.
So $70,000 to $80,000 V6.
Because I feel like the people that are going to be able to accept the V6 also like hybrid is like an added bonus for them at that point. The guys that want the V8 don't want any bullshit interfering with the fact that they have a V8.
Yeah.
So if they make the top of the line model, hardcore, you know, stiffer suspension, lighter, more power V8, and then keep the more tech focused one, the V6 twin turbo hybrid, you know, throw in some KERS system or something in there. But then again, that just sounds expensive to me. That doesn't sound like base model technology.
True. That's like Acura NSX, $100,000, $120,000, $110,000 range.
More than that for a new one.
Yeah.
You can find a used one for that, but not for a new one.
What's the 140 for the NSX? Acura.
Yeah, I think they're close. I mean, depending on the options, I know you can option those things with like $60,000 in carbon fiber,
though, right?
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's a hell of a car too.
Yeah, I don't know. Hybrids are very, very, very heavy. Just thinking about it now. I mean, the Porsche 918. What is it? It's like 3,600 pounds. Though, if you took out the batteries and just had the 600. How much horsepower does the V8 have? It's like 678 or something.
Something like that.
Naturally aspirated V8, 4.8. If they just deleted the batteries, it was like 800 pounds of battery or something, 600 pounds. Like if they brought that down to like 2,800 pounds, I forget the exact weight, but it was like basically they were saying like if they just made this naturally aspirated or just twin turbocharged the V8 and took away the hybrid, it'd be way quicker. It'd be insanely fast.
Probably wouldn't be as quick off the line.
Probably not the line, though. Losing 600, 700 pounds, that's a lot of mass to be moving. But
it's like a really good comparison between the 720S and the P1. And it seems like most owners that the only tracks in the the only track that I know of, just from reading some things that P1 and 720S owners have said, the only track in the U.S. that allows them to actually extract the full potential out of the P1 is COTA, with the long straights at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. But at like Laguna Seca and the 720S, you're able to actually get on the gas more than you are in the P1 because the P1 has all that hybrid torque, so it just burns the wheels off out of every turn. So it's like easier to get a faster lap in the 720S than it is in the P1 at slower tracks, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I can see that.
But I wouldn't be disappointed with either of those.
Yeah. Both cars would be very happy. Any car we just talked about would be very happy.
Yeah, I'd be cool with any car if anyone's listening wants to make a nice donation.
Absolutely. So, We are officially at 1 hour,
Let's wrap this
2
thing up.
minutes, and 41 seconds.
Yeah. I'm already slurring words. I need to check myself here.
Chill, dude.
Yeah.
Chill. Calm down, bro. Man, I'm doing good. Yeah. So, hour, 2 minutes. I think we covered some decent
Couple topics. Yeah.
Had some fun. Had some laughs.
Yeah.
Got a little tipsy.
Love to come back and do this again very soon.
Yeah. So next, I'm going to get a new mixer. That way we can have 4 inputs and 4 people.
Cool.
On this podcast. Yeah. So then we'll have 4 people here. I don't know if I'm going to buy more cameras. Probably not. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or I could use some other cameras that I already have.
What if we just got a third camera and a third camera like right here?
Yeah, we could. Or I would just pull out on each camera and you can just see everyone talking.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get some more people on this. Have some more fun, more drinks, more laughs, and see where this goes.
Cool.
Ooh, that was a loud noise. Sorry, viewers. I have the audio signature up right here. I can see every time we laugh or accidentally breathe into this, it goes really loudly. So I'll try not to do that, and we'll learn how to talk into this properly next time. Sign off?
We're signing off.
All right.
It was fun doing this.
Boom.
We'll be back again next time.
Alrighty. Peace, everyone.